So Kevin, you brought us through the first, 5 years and then into BD&J. And I remember you telling me at one point that, 5 years in was a real inflection point and your focus shifted to raising capital. I guess the 10 credit cards were maxed out, the cases were coming in, and it was time to evolve as a business person. Could you share with us what that entailed?
Yeah, so definitely, 5 years in was when I want to say we started really taking off. And it was for a variety of reasons. Number one was, at that point, the first 5 years, we didn't, again, like you said, I didn't focus on taking home any money, and 90% or so of whatever we made got dumped right back into advertising to grow our pipeline of cases. And it was all about growth. And then, it occurred to us, why are we doing this just in this natural progression of settling cases and pouring it back in? What can I do to jumpstart or ignite this? We started to realize that we can borrow money at a rate that's substantially lower than the return on investment we get on advertising. Okay. And I'll tell you rule number one, if your ROI on your advertising does not beat the rate that you can get for financing these advertisings, then you should not be doing it. But if you look at it and there's a clear margin between your cost of capital and your return on investment on advertising, then it's simply a no-brainer. You want to go utilize debt, leverage your business, and get more cases. And at that point, I don't remember the number that we had, but we had some shocking amount of money invested in our case, whether it were for experts, client advances, which in personal injury is a shocking amount of money, whatever it might be, investigation, police reports, and there's, let's just call it $1 million sitting on your balance sheet as an asset. And again, I got to hold myself back from giving tax advice. I'm not giving anyone tax advice. Talk to your tax attorneys, but you have $1 million invested in these cases, which is nice because, hey, that's supporting the value of these cases, and you should do that. But that's not making you any money. Money sitting in experts on your balance sheet is not growing. It's not being put back into advertising, which is going to hopefully double or triple or whatever your margin is, your return of investment on your advertising is. It's just sitting there. And then to make matters so much worse, unfortunately, the way the tax code is written, you can't even expense that money. So you incur it in year one on your case or year two, and you don't get to write it off until there's some conclusion in the case. Either you get subbed out, you get dropped, or you settle the case. So you're also not having any tax deductions, which is just makes me nauseous. And so right around that point is when we started to look into a case cost credit line and just a traditional credit line. And we started utilizing Esquire's case cost and line and funding all our expenses for, I want to say 95% of our cases at that point. And we took our line of credit at a favorable rate and we did a bunch of stuff. I think, this is a great question. How would I invest this extra liquidity? I'll tell you exactly what we did. First thing we did is we definitely bumped up our advertising budget. Then it freed up, not year one, but year two, it freed up our personal finances too, because I didn't have millions of dollars stuck in our case costs. One of us used it to go buy a house and have our first home. One of us used it to go buy real estate on the side. It just became a liquidity event that the sky's the limit. You decide what you want to do. And as long as you're beating whatever your cost of capital is, again, it's a no-brainer. you got to do it. Every major business utilizes debt to leverage and grow their business. Just because we run a law firm doesn't mean we should be doing it any differently. And, you know, right around that time is also, you know, when we took on our partner, Sean McCann. And listen, it was like a win on win on win. Increase advertising. Now I have money, I can buy a house. We're able to bring on talent like McCann, and then, you know, defense firms were looking at us differently. They're like, oh, holy cow, these guys have a real deal litigator and they can fight back. And, you know, he was involved in CAOC and CALA, and it just put us on the map. And that's really when things kind of blew up and our trajectory started going, you know, exponentially. We started growing exponentially by virtue of like not just sitting on our money, but really like imagine having a barbecue and taking that lighter fluid and just dumping it on top of that fire. And that's what kind of came about after that.